Hi, this is Stefan Ianev, Head of Research and Development for Clean Health. I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years and educated over 5,000 trainers around the globe. In today's video, we're going to be discussing training volume and does it matter? The first thing I want to clarify is how do we actually define training volume? And there's several different ways we can define volume that will largely depend on the client's goals. The classical way of defining volume or volume load is timesing or multiplying the reps times the set times the load, and that gives the total work or the tonnage performed. Now, more recently, we've discovered that for hypertrophy, the total work performed may not be as relevant as we once thought. See, earlier studies showed that when performing moderate or higher repetition sets on a set-to-set basis, you can achieve greater hypertrophy with a moderate or higher rep sets versus lower rep sets of 4 reps or less. However, more recent studies have shown that as long as we're doing over 5 reps, there doesn't seem to be much difference in hypertrophy on a set-to-set basis between performing 5 reps or 30 reps per set. And what that tells us is that there's a minimal volume threshold that we do need to hit in terms of volume load at each session or per set, which is at least 5 reps. So if we're going to be doing lower repetition sets, we need to do more sets to get adequate volume in order to stimulate hypertrophy. So if we're training, for example, for relative strength and we're not concerned about hypertrophy and we're looking to actually minimize hypertrophy, we would keep the reps lower and the total sets lower, and that way we're not achieving a high enough volume threshold to increase hypertrophy. However, if we're doing more than 5 reps, then in terms of the volume load becomes then less relevant, because as long as we're hitting that volume threshold of about 5 or so reps, it really doesn't seem to make much of a difference. And that's because whether you're doing 5 reps, 10 reps or 15 reps or even more reps, it's likely that the training stimulus is really coming from those last 5 or so reps as we start approaching failure. So once we really get above 5 reps all the way up to 30 reps, really the simplest way in that sense to quantify volume is just the total number of heavy or hard sets that are approaching failure. That's just a lot simpler and more practical way to quantify volume. Because if we're going to get the same training stimulus from one set versus another, it's not really imperative that we actually quantify the total volume load defined by the sets times the reps times the load. So I hope that was useful to you in differentiating the different types of volume. And when we're training for hypertrophy, it's as long as we're doing over 5 reps, probably the easiest way to quantify volume is going to be just through the total number of heavy or hard sets. If we're looking at maximizing relative strength, which is getting stronger without increasing muscle size, then we need to take into account the total volume. We want to be below that volume threshold of about 15 total repetitions in a workout. So in order to increase strength without increasing muscle size, we want to keep the total reps below 15. If you enjoyed this video from Clean Health, make sure to subscribe and click the like button and share the video with your friends. And if you have any questions or comments, please post them below.